Greetings and welcome back to Parsing John. This is the second Greek video for our second passage from chapter 1. Today we're going to go through verse 8, and if we can do it fast enough, all the way through the end of verse 10. You already know everything we're going to do. We've got our rubric right here. Quick reference in the middle. Push that aside. Let's get right into it. Uk ein ekenos to phos ala hina marturese peri tu photos. Ein to phos to alethenon ho photidze panta anthropon erkomenon eiston kosmon en toi kosmoi ein kai ho kosmos diautu egeneto kai ho kosmos auton uk egno. Okay, so first things first, we want to find our verb. Uk's not a verb, but it's going to negate the action of the sentence. So we can go ahead and write that in. Ein here is our verb, and we've seen this several times before, but not in this section, so we do need to parse it again for our reference in this section. So we've got ein is going to be a third person. It's going to be singular. It is imperfect, and it is active and indicative, and it means was. Okay, what was? Now we need to find a subject. We know the singular. Ekenos here, it's a demonstrative. It's got os, our second declension masculine ending. And since this is a demonstrative, it uses the first and second declension endings. Second for masculine and neuter, first for feminine. So we know it's not feminine. Os is definitely not a neuter ending, so masculine is the only option. Nominative, singular, masculine, and this fits based with the on what our previous subject was, which is anthropos, singular, masculine. Okay, and we would say that one because ekenos generally indicates something that is further away from the reader, hypothetically. So that one. Earlier we had the kos demonstrative. This one, hotos, means closer. Ekenos means further. Okay, that one was not. That one was not what? Well, either a prepositional phrase showing location or a predicate. We look ahead. We got to phos, an article with phos. Phos is in the nominative form, as is to. If you recall, we've got, where's a good spot? Oh, down here. It's visible. We've got our articles. Masculine is ho, feminine is he, and neuter is to. So we got this one, which matches the gender of phos, neuter, and nominative, singular. And these two go together. We've seen this construction in, I think, verse 5. The specific light, all right? That one was not the light. Good to know. Moving on. Allah. We've got an alpha here that dropped out because of a following vowel. It doesn't make sense for it to be an omicron or anything like that, because then we would have, I think, the word another in order that, from previously. We're going to go ahead and bring this translation in order to, or in order that down here, so we don't have to do it again. Having another in order to doesn't really fit, so, but makes more sense in the context. We got a not here, so this is going to explain what that not is really saying to us. But in order that, marturese, we've already parsed this verb, so we don't need to do it again. Just bring arrow down. Write it down. In order that, witness what? Why, peri to phos, tos. This is a repetition of this prepositional phrase, so again, just going to bring an arrow down. We don't need to parse any of that again. And we could go ahead and translate it. About the light. Period. That's verse 8. That one was not the light, but in order that he witness about the light. Well, now, that sounds kind of weird, because there's something missing from there, clearly, that we need in order for this to make sense. And so whenever we come across something like this, where we've got a subjunctive clause or any clause like that, where it looks like a piece of information is missing, we have to go back to previous sentences to see what is going on that we might be able to pull in there to give us poor English readers some more context. So we look back through here, and what is the man doing? Well, he's sent by God. Now, that doesn't really fit. And here we have it. Eiluthin, he came. So we can bring, because context has this word in there, we know he's doing it as he's doing this, because he's doing it right there. We can bring this in for the poor English reader so that it makes more sense. That one was not the light, but Eiluthin, he came in order that he may witness about the light. So you can stick the word came, specifically he came, because we have Eiluthin up here. Context permits it. All right, moving on to verse 9. So we've got ain again. No need to parse it a second time since we've got it right there. He was, or there was. Context will tell us what variation of this makes most sense. Initially, we want to say he because anthropos was our previous subject. However, as we look ahead, we've got tophos in the nominative. We've already seen the nominative of this right here. No need to parse it again. The light. And since we don't have a repetition of anthropos or anything indicating that anthropos appears, tophos kind of has to be our new subject in here. I've got ain then connecting it either to a prepositional phrase showing location or a predicate. And what we've got here is to right there, on. This is going to be a predicate. And it's going to be nominative, singular, and neuter to match the noun. Since it's an adjective, it has to match the case number, gender of its noun. So instead we would translate this as the light was. So we don't want there was. We want to swap he to it, or really the light. The light was what? The light was the true. Kind of weird. We might instead want to say truth. Or this could, if it is this one as the better option based on what the dictionary says about this word, we might want to say the true and then insert again the word light for context. That's something that is debatable whether or not it's legal, so I'm going to leave it purely in the parentheses, but ultimately we are going to incorporate that into our translation. All right, and now here we come to ho. What is ho? It's not an article. We don't have it connected to any noun in the nominative. So instead, what we've got here, and also if you'll notice, this one doesn't have an accent mark, whereas this one does. It does. And so instead of ho, he, to, what we really have is a relative. There we go. A relative pronoun. And those are, for the masculine, hos. For the feminine, I think it is just he with the accent mark. And with the neuter, are kind of weird, just ho. Ho matches phos, because it is neuter. That would be nominative or accusative, but nominative makes the most sense here. Singular, neuter, and we'll see the sense more as we take a look at photidze, our verb. A here is going to be a third person, and it is singular, and then the tense. So we've got a zeta here, and it hasn't changed into a sigma or anything else. We also don't have any vowel or reduplication at the beginning. This has got to be present tense, and it's going to be active and indicative, and it means to give light or shine. Okay, and now this one can take a direct object, give light to something or shine onto something. So we want to look for an accusative. As we take a look ahead, we've got panta, anthropon. Panta comes from pasapan, and I now remember that I've got all of those written down on a card. Pasapan. Panta is either neuter, plural, or accusative singular masculine. As we take a look ahead, we've got anthropon, and that's got an accusative singular ending. So it makes most sense for this one to match anthropon and modify that as an accusative singular masculine. And since we have singular here, and this word means all, normally, we actually want to change it in English to mean every. Every man. Okay. Now we can move on. Erkomenon. On here is an accusative singular ending, either for masculine or neuter. It could be nominative, of course. But based on the context, it makes most sense that, yep, it's actually going to go to phos, because it doesn't make sense for every man coming into the world, but for the light coming into the world. So, parsing this one, we've got nominative or, as I said, accusative. We're going to cross out accusative as less likely. Singular, it's going to be masculine or neuter. Masculine doesn't make sense. And then the tense of this participle is present, and it's going to be middle or passive. It's going to be, of course, participle. And this would translate to coming, and coming into the world. So that's what that means. Prepositional phrase, which I've already translated for you. Ace plus the accusative ton, kosmon. Cosmos is masculine, and it is, of course, singular. Into, previously when we had ace, it was showing purpose. In this case, we have a location. To the word world. Okay, so based on how long it's been, we're not going to be able to go through verse 10. I guess that'll get its own video later. From the top, our translation, that one was not the light, but, in parentheses, he came in order to witness about the light. The light was the true, in parentheses, light, which shines on every man coming into the world. What coming into the world? The light coming into the world. So there's a rough translation. Sorry for all the rambling today. As for whether or not this is middle or passive, I will leave that up ultimately to wiser biblical scholars than I. I hope going through this has been helpful today for all of you, and I hope you join me in our next video when we take a look at these same two verses in the Latin. Until then, everybody have a good day.